See those? Those are black walnuts. And this year I've seen more black walnuts on trees than any other time that I can remember. So this little tree here, just a small one, and it's just loaded with them. Here's another smaller tree here. It's pretty much loaded up too. And while these are okay, piled a few of them up there. It's pretty good sized walnuts. On down the creek, I'm going to take you down there, and we've got a tree around that corner there that it has larger walnuts than these are. The ones at the larger tree around the bend down there, well, let me show you. Look at the size of walnuts on this tree. And drove the John Deere down here. Got me a couple of buckets. Also got a hoe, long handled hoe, that I can tap on the branches, and that'll make more of the nuts fall, because there's still a lot on the trees that haven't fell. If the hull size means that the shell's bigger inside, there's some of these big as a tennis ball laying here on the ground. So I'm gonna see if I can get some more of these off the branches, and we'll pick us up a couple of buckets full. Buckets and gloves, that's an important thing. You try to pick them walnuts up with no gloves on, you're gonna have some stained hands for a while. Well, you want to be careful too when you're doing that. I happened to look up, and one hit right there in the chin. It stung a little bit. So yeah, definitely don't be looking up at it when you're shaking the limbs, because one might hit you in the eye, and that'd be a bad thing. But we got several on the ground. Some large walnuts. So I'm gonna put my gloves on, and we'll pick some of these up. Here's an example of one of the larger nuts, which is pretty good for walnuts. And there's a good bucket full. Two buckets full. That's about 4 gallons. So I'm going to take these to the house, and I'll show you how I get the hulls off. There's our waterfall down here at the corner of the creek. It's a nice little waterfall. Really soothing sounds coming out of that. Wanted to show you a comparison. The walnuts on the left there are the ones I showed you at the beginning of the video. These are the ones that I just picked up. So quite a difference in size between those. I can remember as a child when you've seen more gravel driveways, folks would gather the walnuts, spread them out in the drive, run over them with the cars, and that would get the husk off. Usually it wouldn't break the nuts because they would give enough that the husk would kind of protect them. Nowadays you very seldom see anyone that goes out and picks up these walnuts and hulls them and then gets the nuts out of them. But anyway, what I'm going to do, I got my stand out here with a piece of OSB on it. That way I don't have to bend over. As you get older, you don't want to bend over any more than necessary. So I'll be able to stand up here and do this. I'm just going to get the hull off, and it's going to be messy. So let me show you how I do it. Take the walnut, twist it, kind of like you're opening a jar lid. And yeah, it's messy, but that gets most of the husk off. There's a nut. Well, there's definitely a difference in the shell size. The one on the left is one of the larger ones, and I purposely picked up a small one just to compare. So bigger shell. All right, I had 4 gallons of nuts that I picked up. Nuts with the husk. After husking, I had about 1.5 gallons of nuts in their shells. And then once I get to the part of taking the nut out, I'm hoping to have maybe 1 quart of nuts. But this is how I get the nut shell kind of clean where you can work with it. Just put it in a bucket of water and I'll let that soak, and then I'll dump that in the other bucket and just go back and forth, and it'll get a lot of that husk off. And the longer you leave them in that water, the darker green that water gets. So that tells me that is getting that husk off. Been letting these soak in this bucket. Just poured the water out, and we're starting to look like a walnut shell. Pour them back and forth from bucket to bucket a few more times, and then rinse them again, and we may be close to having most of that off. Got my trailer out to load the tractor on to go bush hog tomorrow. So while I got the rear gate here of the trailer laying here, I'm going to use it. Just put the walnuts on it. I let them drain and dry. Okay, it's been 2 weeks since I laid these out here on this board, and surprised me, but they are pretty much dry now. At least the shells are, where I can handle them. And so I'm going to try to get some nuts out of these, and we'll see how that goes. Eyeglasses, just for protection, and I can see a little better too. So I'm using the vise, the hammer, side cutters, and a pick. That seems to work pretty well. Here's the best way that I've found to get these nuts out of here pretty fast. Put the crown this way, and if you use a hammer, it helps crack that shell pretty fast. You hear it there. And then we're going to crack it this way up too. And there's one nut that's exposed right there. And let's see, let's crack this one more time this way. Another nut. This way this time. All right. And we got one more pretty large one to get out here. See how we can do. There's one piece of it. There's the other piece. This is a quart freezer bag, and did 25 walnuts. That's how many nuts I had out of the 25 walnuts. So probably half a quart. So with the 100 or so that we have, probably a couple of quarts of walnuts out of those. Hope you've enjoyed the video, and good luck if you're trying to shell some black walnuts. They're a lot of trouble to get the nut out, but I think you'll find that the taste makes the trouble all worth it. See you next time. We hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the like button, and we'd love it if you would subscribe to our channel. Thanks.